First of all, before we get the session started, I'd just like to pay an acknowledgement to our country.
Here is the land. Here is the sky. Here are my friends, and here am I. I acknowledge the elders of the Kulin Nation, past, present, and future, on whose land we learn today. Here is the...
Okay, first of all, a bit of housework here. In case of an emergency, we're to follow your normal workplace procedures and policies. Go straight out to the our induction point, our muster area, follow instructions from there. All other WHS, behavioural policies and everything comes down to our normal workplace policies and procedures. Okay, we're here today. I am John Walsh. My TAFE student number is 88128657. I'm here doing my second delivery for TAE, delivery 311. May I have permission to record you purely for TAFE purposes?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. We're here today, our session title, we're doing fire extinguisher training. We've got to do this every 3 years to update our currency. Fortunately, you've been away, so I'm giving you a reasonable adjustment to do it here on a 1-by-1 session, so we can keep you current and keep you out in the workforce. Fire extinguisher training. After today's session, you should be able to understand the combustion process and different fire classes, understand fire extinguisher types and operating procedures, capabilities and their limitations, understand basic firefighting concepts. Combustion process. 3 things that require a fire to burn. You remember them? Identify any of those?
Yes, oxygen, fuel and heat.
That's correct. The 3 of them create a chemical reaction which gives you a fire. Because the fire, once it starts, it increases the heat, which then gets the fire to burn further, using the fuel available and the heat. The hotter it gets, the bigger the fire gets, compared to the amount of fuel that's there. How can a fire triangle help you to put out a fire?
Remove one of the 3.
Exactly. It's had air, heat, oxygen, fuel. Remove any one of those 3, you stop the chemical reaction. A fire can't continue without all 3 components of the fire triangle. Removing at least one component will put out a fire, as you just identified. Removing one component of the fire triangle lets you put out the fire. So removing one, how do you remove the fuel?
Could be difficult depending on what the fuel is.
Exactly. You don't want to go and then start pulling fuel out of the fire. You don't want to move petrol, oil to an oil fire. Thus, removing fuel is almost impossible. So you can remove the other 2, oxygen and or heat. To do that, fires are separated into 5 different classes. Can you tell me the 5 different classes of fires off the top of your head from memory?
No, I couldn't.
Class A, B, C.
Right, yeah.
Yep. D, and of course K. K is a weird one, that's for metals, magnesium and other burning metal things. So I've introduced that now into the fire class. same then, ABC. Class of fire, A. A is wood, paper, cloth, ordinary materials. Commonly around the workshops, could get it in the cabins with people keeping good housework, throwing rubbish under the seats, etc. B is gasoline, oil, paint, any other flammable liquids. Class C, live electrical equipment. Class D, combustible metals and combustible alloys. I got that wrong, I was saying it's K, that's actually D. K is vegetable fats and cooking oil. I've identified a separate one for that. Fire extinguisher anatomy. Picture of a fire extinguisher to put them out. As you can see, a typical fire extinguisher there, it's got a pressure gauge. When you get to your equipment out at work, when you go to check the fire extinguisher and you're doing your walk around, what do you do to check the fire extinguisher?
Make sure it's pointing in the green.
This is why it's sitting in its cradle up on the deck of your dozer or your truck. Walk around procedures, check the pressure gauge. Identify it's in the green area, so it's fully charged, operational. Eventually over time they do, fire extinguisher's got a lifespan of 5 years. Over time, seals deteriorate, the pressure leaks out of them, gauge goes back in the red. If you're caught in an emergency, you go to use it, won't discharge. So good thing, always check that gauge when you get in there, just for your own safety and protection. Other part, of course, you've got the body, you've got the data plate we're going to go into. Remember how we're talking about 5 different classes of fire? So each different class of fire will have a different fire extinguisher. This fire extinguisher can be recognised by the class band around it or an identification plate they all have on them. Okay, so here we come down next to the gauge. The discharge locking pin and seal. So that locking pins to stop any accidental discharge while it's stored. So of course to use it, you must pull that pin out before you can. Discharge levers on the top. That's the actual working part that you squeeze, because the bottom part's just a carry handle that doesn't pivot or move. So you grab the bottom bit with your hand and you're actually using the top part. That's the discharge. You've got the discharge hose. That's where you put out, that's where the retardant comes out at the end of it, on the discharge nozzle and the discharge orifice. Okay. Fire extinguisher types. We went through this. Class A, which we went through, was wood, paper, rags, etc. Fire extinguisher types A, Class A fires is water. Normally they carry 2.5 gallons of water. They've got up to 1 minute discharge time. So you've got a pretty short amount of time before you get that fire out, before you have to evacuate, escape. Has a pressure gauge to allow a visual capacity check. Again, that gauge on the top, so keep it in the green. 30-foot maximum effective range, which all fire extinguishers use 2 to 3 metres away from the fire. You walk up 2 to 3 metres away, it's safe. That's the range to use it at. Can be started and stopped as necessary by releasing the trigger, re-squeezing. It extinguishes that Class A type of fire by cooling the burning material below the ignition point by using water. Similar to firefighters, if they come out to house fires, they got the big water they're spraying on them. Why water? You can carry more water around in the trucks that you can have chemical components will go into. Water's a great one for houses that normally wood and whatnot are burning. Water's a good one. Cool the heat, get them out. Notice the bushfires, they've got Elvis and whatnot, the helicopters doing water bombing on all the trees to take the heat out of the area to try and reduce the fire. Class B or C fires. They've got a 2.5 to 10 pound CO2 gas they use to put out the fire. They have 8 to 30 second discharge time, so it's really short again. Has no pressure gauge, capacity is verified by the weight. They've got a 3 to 8 foot maximum effective range, again 2 metres to 1 metre away from it. It extinguishes by smothering burning materials. Its effectiveness decreases as the temperature of the burning material increases. CO2 gas, what is that? CO2, carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide, yeah.
What's that doing? Carbon dioxide takes the oxygen out of the air. So you're using it to try to drain the oxygen away from the fire to put that out. Varying effects, not too effective inside because you're in there trying to put it out, putting CO2 in, can give you less oxygen to breathe. You've got no oxygen coming in, you might have smoke in the building, not very suitable for inside. Great for outside fires, etc. Great for those types of fires, whereas water fires it's not, wood fuel fires it's sort of not, because the gas can blow the embers around and decrease the fire and so on. So B is normally, CO2 gas, it's a foam, it's not safe on other classes of fire, it's only suitable for BA fires, which is, remember the BA, A was wood fuel, the other one was liquids and grease, electrical equipment. It's no good for trash, wood or paper fires. Why would it be good for electrical equipment compared to a water extinguisher?
Well, water will electrocute you.
Exactly. Water's conductive. So somebody goes spraying water on a laptop or a PowerPoint that's on fire. Do it with the CO2, take the oxygen out of the air. You're not going to have a conductive thing to electrocute you and put yourself in harm's way. So again, they are very commonly put in buildings, inside areas. For that purpose, they can cover 2 classes of fire. They're the sort of fires that normally happen indoors. Multi-purpose dry chemical, class A, B or C fires. This is the multi-purpose dry chemical extinguisher. It's extinguishes normally 2.5 to 20 pound dry chemical, ammonium phosphate. It is pressurized by nitrogen gas. It has an 8 to 25 second discharge time. It has a pressure gauge to allow the visual capacity check, again by the sight gauge, the green area up there so the needle's pointing to, red either side. Again, make sure when you're identifying it's in the green area. It extinguishes by smothering the burning material with a dry chemical. So similar to that, it's similar to sodium bicarbonate baking powder. Sort of thing, it sprays out, which puts a layer over the top of your fuel that's burning, again to stop the oxygen getting into it. It's a white powder. It's also suitable on Class A fires. Reason being, again, it's not liquid to electrocute you. For any electrical fires are on fire, it is good for wood burning and other materials, and it is good for PVE type of fires. That's the one you'll find inside of most buildings. So you go around the corridors at work, you'll see this fire extinguisher there, the multi-purpose dry chemical one. Halon. Halons are class A, B or C fires, a lot smaller sizes, is ineffective against class A. Class A again was wood fire, was wood, paper, bags. It normally 9 to 17 pound, halon 1211 pressurised liquid. It's released as a vapour. It has an 8 to 18 second discharge time. Again, it has a pressure gauge up near the handle to identify if it's full or if it's leaking, if it's low. On capacity, works best in confined areas, ideal for electronic fires. Due to lack of residue it puts out to damage your electrical equipment, be safer indoors, safer, a lot better on the lungs and CO2, reducing the oxygen out of the air, stopping your breathing. All electrical places will have halon type there available handy for that sort of fire. The fumes are toxic if inhaled, so if you are utilising that, you do want to not be too close, try not to breathe deeply pulling that halon in, but same thing, you're also getting smoke in the area too, so just be careful of that, wary of that. Combustible metals, the Class D, combustible metal fires only. Never knew we had combustible metals. We're about to burn anywhere. I can't identify any we have at work, can you?
No.
No. Combustible metals are also available in bulk containers, hand scooping onto the fire to extinguish. So that'll be if you have a big pit area of metal, like up the back of the boiler room. They've got their raw metal and everything in the big storage areas. If there's inflammatory metal there to catch on fire, they'll be there. They'll be scooping that stuff on the top of it. To activate, must first open the nitrogen cylinder on the back of the pressurised body. See how it's pointing there? It extinguishes by smothering the burning materials. Next one is wet chemical. This is for class A, B, C and K fires. It's normally 1.5 gallons of stored pressure PRX wet chemical. Extinguishing agent, it is 40 second discharge time. It's got a 10 to 12 foot effective range, again 2 to 3 metres if you work from a fire. On class K fires, don't use it until after fixed extinguishing system has activated, which means your normally fixed areas would be sprinklers on the roof, etc. So you wait till that activates in your truck, your dozer. You've got the inbuilt fire system expression system. Again, don't use it until that has gone off and fully discharged. If you still need to extinguish a fire, to get down your point of exit escape, utilise this one to get down out of there safely. It extinguishes by cooling and forming a foam blanket to prevent reignition. Again, the water cart cannons we have out there at work, water carts going around, their cannon is spraying out this foam stuff onto the trucks to try and extinguish the fires there. Fire emergency response, mainly used for forward indoors. We've got things there, we've got the classified as race. So the first one is rescue. You see a fire, if you see anyone in trouble, in danger, go and rescue them. Get them away from the fire. They could have smoke inhalation, could be burnt, could have anything. If they can't actively move away from the fire themselves, go and rescue them. First thing you do, rescue anyone there. Raise the alarm. Raise the alarm there. Contain the fire if you can by using a fire extinguisher. Do that. Extinguish. So before you go to extinguish, always rescue, raise the alarm first. Don't detect the fire to fire unless an alarm is sounded. Again, raise the alarm first. Don't do it unless someone else has called for help. You only do it if the fire is small and contained. You should be only fighting a fire if an extinguisher the size of a waste paper bin. Anything bigger than that, it's getting out of control. You won't have enough agent in the fire extinguisher to last long enough to put it out. Our situations, we're mainly using the fire extinguishers up near our cabin as a point of exit. to get away from there. If our exit point's on fire, you know we've got limited escape opportunities in them. That's why it's up beside the door of your cabin to grab it, to clear the path out, to extinguish your path for the exit to go. Of course, you'll be out of there first before you raise the alarm, because you don't want the fire to get further and further to the point where you've raised the alarm, you're stuck in there and the fire's too big to use an extinguisher. Again, fire is small and contained. You have safe egress route. Can be reached without exposure to the fire. Available extinguisher rated for the size and type of fire. If you're ever in doubt, just leave alone, evacuate. Evacuate, call the alarm, let our emergency response team, firefighters go and deal with it. Your safety is the main thing. You only fight a fire if it's small and contained, being if you need it to a foot egress to get out of there. Otherwise, leave it to the experts. So let's break down and pull out a fire. Have you ever used a fire extinguisher before?
Only in simulations.
Only in simulations. Okay. Using a fire extinguisher, we classify it as the past method. Past method means to use a fire extinguisher. We have one here. We identified fired it before. You've got the handle, squeeze trigger, the body. You've got your identification gauge. You've got your pin. First thing you're going to do, when you get to a fire, if there's a fire, you identify what type of fire it is you're putting out. Is the power board on fire? Have you got an electrical component on fire? Is it fuel, oil, grease? Is it wood, paper, rags? Identifying that, what type of fire it is. Normally in our areas there, at work, they'll have the correct type of fire extinguisher in the area for it. And so most of them use the Class C, with the white band that does 3 of our common fires we're going to have out there. The pass method. P, pull the pin. You've got a locking pin here. It's just locking the trigger, so you're not going to get an accidental discharge while it's being stored. Once you've pulled the pin, A is aim low at the base of the flames. You're going to put out a fire, you don't bother putting it up in the air where the fires are leaping to, you aim at the base of the fire. As you're going up, you pull the pin, you're aiming, you're positioning yourself 3 to 2 metres away. You're really going to squeeze the trigger. First thing I normally do is give it a quick squeeze, make sure it's working. While I'm far enough away, safely away, it's working. I'll put it back, re-aim, squeeze the trigger. The agent will start discharging. S, sweep from side to side. As you pull the trigger, you're squeezing it, you're sweeping at the base of the fire, slowly approaching to the fire. As you're doing that, the fire will be retarding, extinguishing away. Activity time. I'm going to have you come up and do that now. Okay. I'll give you the fire extinguisher. I'll show it to you first. Fire extinguisher simulation training. You're identifying the source of fire. Paper, wood, oil, petrol, electrical. I've been there, what is it? That's your oil tank will be trucks on fire. They do here. It's on the stairs, I can't get out of the cabin, I've got to go down the steps to get out. I've got to go to the fire extinguisher here. That type of fire extinguisher will be there. You then access the fire extinguisher, check the colour band or an identification plate. It'll have on it identifying what type of fires you can use. Make sure it's suitable for the type of fire you're about to do. As I said, the main and the dangerous ones are electrical fires. You don't want to use some water agent and risk of getting electrocuted. The other one, this one does all 3 other classes. Pass method, pull the pin, aim the nozzle at the base of the fire. Down the bottom there. We're aiming there, we're about 2 to 3 metres away. You're comfortable. Squeeze the trigger. Again, squeeze it, quickly make sure it is working, then squeeze, agent will start discharging out. Get to there. Sweep. As the agent's coming out, you are sweeping from side to side at the base of the fire as you are slowly stepping towards the fire. Keep an eye on it, make sure the fire is not expanding. You don't want to get more intense. Make sure the actual retarding agent is working as you are stepping towards it, sweeping to the base of the fire. Okay. You have a go at that now.
Okay.
You've got a fire burning here. Got to identify which fire type you've got. Got to access the fire extinguisher, check the colour band. Right, white colour band. What sort of fire we have, is that suitable? Yes. It's suitable for the fire type we've got. Okay.
Okay.
Very good.
Pull the
Pull
pin.
the pin, yep. Here we're up to. Okay, off you go. Pull the pin.
Now pull the pin.
Yep.
Give it a quick squirt.
Yes.
Make sure that it works.
Yes.
There we go. Aim at the base.
Yes.
As we're pulling the trigger.
Yes.
Stepping towards the fire.
As you are sweeping away,
As we're sweeping.
as you come up there, keep sweeping, sweeping, sweeping,
Sweeping.
sweeping to the point. Fire's getting less and less. Getting less and less. You extinguish the fire. Very good. Very good. Okay. You've just put out a fire using the pass method. You've identified different classes of fire we have, the class of fire extinguisher to use for it. Any other questions?
One question.
Yes?
What do we do once we've used them?
We'll get to that.
Okay. Right.
Yes, of course. Once you've used the fire extinguisher,
Yep.
of course, emergency response would have come by then.
Yep.
They will collect it.
Okay.
Use fire extinguisher, don't put it back in your rack. Because some people might stay there, some other people might be checking the gauge to get into it. It's an empty fire extinguisher. It's going to be pretty pointless for the emergency risers. They're going to need to use it. So do report it to our fire department and so on. Don't put it back in the rack. Don't just dump it in the bush. Report it, leave it aside so they can come and take it, replace it with a fresh one in your area. Any other questions?
No, that's good. That's very good.
Okay. We've got one thing here. Our outcome. What have we learnt today? I'm going to put you through a little bit of a quiz to see what knowledge you've picked up from here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, go.
Did you want to put it on the TV?
I haven't got it working, so we'll just do it here.
Okay.
Your thing here, so.
Yep.
Only playing solo, so yep.
Okay.
Actually, you've got 4 other people, computerised ones playing against you, so hit OK, go. You've got the enter key there,
Oh.
or over there.
Yep. Wait a minute. Stop.
Go like a hoot by Cahoots. Duplicate of fire extinguisher training. 3, 2, 1. Away we go. It's a knowledge quiz for you.
What are
What are-
3, A, B, and C?
Very good. The way this works, the quickest finger and the correct answer gets the most scores. You've got 20 seconds for each game, so that's tally board now. You'll come in second because Robin was quicker than you. What are the 3 elements of a fire triangle? You lost one, very good. Up to the lead you are. When using a fire extinguisher, what does the acronym PASS stand for? Pick, aim, squirt, shout. That'll be my next. Push, attack, stop, spray. Very good. You're still in the lead by 500 points. What type of fire extinguishers is suitable for electrical fire? Very good. C is the water one, but A, B and C can be used for other types. Ooh, you pulled 1,200 points ahead. You're that quick. What should you do after you're using a fire extinguisher to push out a fire? That was your question to me. Evacuate the area, inspect the extinguisher, refill it, call emergency.
Oh.
Yeah. But you did demonstrate before you try to put out a fire, you do raise the alarm,
Yes.
call the emergency. But yes, that's why you got away from that. But your situation to get an egress out of your truck or your dozer when you're going to be using an actual handheld extinguisher is when the automatic suppression system hasn't stopped it and you need to get out to get away out of danger. You're not going to be calling an emergency until you're out of the area and you're safe. So, yep.
Quarter.
How should you aim the nozzle of a fire extinguisher when using it? Directly at the source, at the top of the flames, at the base of the fire. Very good. You're back in front, 5,000 points. What is the purpose of the safety pin on the fire extinguisher? To aim the nozzle, to adjust the pressure. Very good. To prevent accidental discharge. Shimmy Shimmers overtaken Mal, but you are now near 2,000 points ahead. What is the recommended distance to stand from a fire when using the extinguisher? 5 metres, 2 metres, 6 metres, 20 metres, 2, very good. 20 metres extinguisher is not going to have much effect, but you're not going to get hot or burnt. Which class of fire involves combustible metals? 4D, that's right, yes. That's 10 out of 12. What's the expiration period for most fire extinguishers? Most of them are 5 to 10 years, depending on the type. What about there? It was actually 10 years for our type of work, but depending on the extinguisher, 5 to 10 years. You notice all of ours have a date tag on them, and I think they do them every 5. So I identified that answer, so I'll allow that. Second last. What are some of the consequences of using the wrong fire extinguisher? Risk of injury yourself, toxic fumes, or the above? Very good. One to go, I believe. What do you do if you use fire extinguisher? Another question. Put it back in the holder, throw it away, leave it on the ground, or report it to the supervisor. Mal came third with 7 out of 12. Second is Robin. You had 11 out of 12. That's a very good result. As the one you missed, you're actually correct. You were saying 10 years, which is right, but I actually put the answer down as 5, and vice versa. But yeah.
So it was a call emergency.
Oh, correct, yes. You said yeah.
I assumed we just called the emergency first.
Exactly, I didn't identify that, raise the alarm,
Yes.
contain the area. Your purpose, the industry related to you, contextualise it to yours. You're not gonna, you'll get out of there first. You're clearing your cabin on fire for your safety. You get out of there, use that extinguisher, then you'll be raising the alarm.
Yep.
That's dead correct. That's very good.
Awesome.
Well done. The future for this is you don't have to do this again for another 3